Evaguel Rhysing is the CEO of United Aircraft Technologies. She is here with her co-founder, Darian Rhysing, and Jessica and Chris from the UAT team. We are so proud of this company. We met them, I can't remember, a few years ago in one of our challenges. They won that challenge, and we then went on to invest in this company. We've invested twice now in this company. And we've been just so excited to see how quickly they've advanced. The fact that they moved to Pittsfield from the Troy and Albany area, New York. And their motivations for doing so, as I understand it, were primarily because they understood that the ecosystem here would be very fertile ground for them to build this company. They're hiring people, and I don't want to steal any of Eva's thunder. So let me stop talking and welcome Eva Rhysing to the summit.
I was having my own personal sauna over there in some mess. But regardless, I want to thank everybody for the wonderful introduction, and also for taking your time of being here and listen to us share our purpose and our goals. So my mission here is to basically, for those that don't know me, share a little bit about UAT. For those that know me, show some other updated stuff, but also to share the experience I've had as an entrepreneur up to this point. So without further ado, today I'd like to go briefly through our company, UAT, where we're making the smart clamping system for electrical wiring, which is based on the life experience of Darian, who's sitting right over there, my co-founder, yes, and husband, where talk about, living in the same house with your co-founder. But he was an aircraft electrician for the US military for over 14 years. That is until he got injured because of the clamps used today, the metal clamps, and lost his job, his home. And so he became an engineer and created a solution. And the solution is to a smart clamp that is faster, lighter, cheaper, and smart. Because we have a network of sensors embedded in our clamp that can reduce the time it takes to maintain them using augmented reality and artificial intelligence. And we're addressing the Department of Defense need, where they have a huge fleet, but then they spend so much money, where in 2003, they established a health usage monitoring system to monitor the biggest component in an aircraft, the airframe. But still, so much money in maintenance. So they launched Army Futures Command and two programs, the Future Vertical Lift and Agility Prime, where they want to replace the old helicopters with new ones and want to move the all-electric aircraft market up in the air, but they have problems with the high voltage wiring being a safety factor. Because after all, this, I'm sorry if you fly, this is what's behind all those panels where you sit. This is what he showed me, and then let's go fly to Sikorsky. It's like, great. But in a commercial aircraft, you have over 36 miles of wiring and 20,000 of these clamps alone. And they already have a challenge of having a lot of maintenance costs that lead to unscheduled maintenance. And the more we make advanced aircraft, the more complex the systems they become and the more difficult they become to maintain. After all, they're relying an outdated piece of hardware that is heavy. It is metal holding electrical wiring, metal being a conductive. But not only that, this thing has caused crashes. Transatlantic Flight 800, we lost 200 people because a clamp propagated an electrical short. We have a single-purpose hardware where we need a multi-purpose tool. So our clamp has a 6 network of sensors. It is self-powered. We don't need batteries. We use the vibrations of the aircraft. And we use our AI to be able to categorize and do predictive maintenance and create a live digital twin simulation where we can tell you, this is how much you have left before something's going to happen in this area. That's why we can reduce 80% of the maintenance costs in the US military. To show you a little bit, you just put a clamp, you assign its location, and you're pretty much ready to go. No longer do maintainers need to wonder where the problem is. Spend 2 weeks trying to solve it, shaking the electrical wire across the aircraft with a multimeter, and wondering, looking at hundreds and hundreds of pages of technical manual, wondering, okay, I think it's here, what's behind the soundproofing panel? Because with UATs, you can filter through subsystem and see behind the soundproofing panel, taking something that takes 2 weeks or more, 2 hours. And based on some use case, and just on intermittent faults being faults that happen in the air, but they cannot be reproduced in ground. Based on just the Navy's, just on intermittent faults, they spend $94 million, where UAT, we can bring it down to 18 only. And when it comes to being made of thermoplastic, the weight factor, we all know is important in aerospace. We have a very big impact because currently they use steel that is heavy, then aluminum, which is good, but not that different. And our competitors that make another thermoplastic clamp, they still don't fare that much better. But with the UAT, we have that capability, which is why currently we're patented in the US, and we also have filed in Canada, Brazil, Europe, Arab Emirates to protect our technology. Because we can save out between 50 to 700 pounds off an aircraft. But like I said, it sounds great, but this experience has taught me how to summarize my entrepreneurial journey in one simple sentence. I'm scared, but that's okay. See, entrepreneurs, we put this stigma upon ourselves because we talk and we celebrate the biggest people that did this huge success from Facebook, from Amazon, but we don't talk about the messy middle. And we say, oh, they're so fearless. Well, I say entrepreneurs are brave because we're scared, but we still do something about it. And the thing is, entrepreneurship begins not only when you start a startup. Entrepreneurship begins in the early stages. So a little bit about myself. You may pick up from my accent, but I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. And I always had this need in me to build something. But a lot of obstacles came on my way. I did have a success where I helped a company grow. He got acquired to another organization, but the Puerto Rican economy decided to go, whoa! And there, my big win went, bye-bye. But the thing is, I still remember the first lesson I learned as a little kid. When I was a little kid, I asked my dad, hey, Dad, what kind of animal am I? And here I am, a unicorn or a beautiful lion. And said, you can be a mosquito. Thanks, Dad. But he taught me, be like a mosquito because they're survivors and they're persistent, annoyingly persistent until they get what they need. And that stuck with me. Although I had my dad for only 8 years of my life, that stuck with me. So when the Puerto Rican economy tanked, I came to the US seeking my dream with $60 in my pocket. English. You never knew I was saying think or think. Took me a while to learn. And decided to pursue a career to help me improve my communication. I live in the projects. I went through the cycle of poverty. I took linguistics, phonology, to help me pronounce things better and help build something. But entrepreneurship I didn't have a word for it. It doesn't exist where I came from. Or in Spanish, emprendedor is the closest thing. So then when I met my co-founder and saw the opportunity for UAT, we began a kind of somewhat lonely journey. I had his support, which is great. But the thing is, most entrepreneurs are out there seeking somebody to believe them. And then, somebody believed. That's a while back. Wow, somebody believed in us. That's great. And the thing is, okay, I'm not alone anymore. But then the magical thing that happened is, not only did we have somebody to believe, but somebody that showed us to believe in ourselves. And then I came over and said, Brent, Jeffrey, we went into this Army program. They gave me 40 minutes and only 6 slides. How am I going to do this? Help. And they empowered us to do so. And then I went on to AUSA, and I had a lot of these huge companies that had millions already in revenue and contracts. And I used to tell Darian, no. It's like when I'm a cage of lions, I'm a little kid and go like, I can scratch you too, Fear me. And lo and behold, they said, you know what? I like what you do. And said, somebody or customer believes that this is a solution. And we got $134,000 from them, one of the first biggest wins besides Lever, that funded us because we only have 4 months of salary left. So, and then from there, we went into Mass Challenge, 100 companies. And we're there just, let's just go to Mass Challenge, make connections. And then suddenly, that's the team for BAE Systems. Somebody believes in us. And we won. And then, of course, I had 60 seconds to go pitch. And then Jeffrey just comes on, hey, I'm here, good luck. It's like, who taught me how to pitch is going to be watching me. And I changed it 5 minutes before I went into stage. Gave Darren a small heart attack, but that's okay, I made it. And then, slowly but surely, other people started believing in us. And I no longer felt that unconfident to take that stage. And then slowly, UAT kept being known, and more people surrounded us as a support system. Not only because other people believed in us, but because that support system helped us continue to believe in ourselves in the high and the lows, which is so important because then, as you continue to grow, it is important that not only we continue to believe in ourselves, but the entrepreneurs that have been able to grow come back to support the people that helped them grow. Because that little ripple that happened almost 3 years ago helped us be successful to this point. So we're no longer so alone. And because of that, here's my bragging points. We were able to, this year, secure over 1.9 million in government contracts, which from the prior ones that we received, we're around close to over 3 million right now. We won NASA back-to-back thanks to my wonderful team that supported me through it all. We established an agreement with Bell Helicopters. I don't know how, right before COVID hit, I was in France and I spoke to Airbus CTO. And then COVID hit and 5 people in Paris were diagnosed with it. We're like freaking out, trying to get out of France. But slowly but surely, we began making those connections and more people began believing in our product and our success. And that's the key thing. Entrepreneurs succeed because of the support system. And as you're here supporting Lever, but supporting other entrepreneurs, it's important that you never forget that these faces rely on that support. Whoops. Because thanks to them and thanks to you, they'll go out to make even bigger things. So thank you so much for your time, for being a supported group, and I'll take your questions.
I'm going to again take the first question. Eva, something I wanted to ask you for some time. I want to quote first a co-investor in UAT with us, Chris Sims from the Alchemy Fund, and his partner, Chris Bignell, is here with us as well. I'm sorry, Brett Gearing, excuse me. There's 4 of them. Anyway, Chris says of you, before they decided to invest, that you have this armor-piercing ability to get to the right people. And first of all, I'm going to tell you how you can't answer the question. You can't answer the question by giving credit to other people because you have a strong proclivity to do that. Tell us where do you find that courage, that to take those kind of chances, and how can we do that too?
Certainly. It all goes back to being like a little mosquito sometimes. My team was making fun of me yesterday saying, something happens to you at events. And I'm like, don't leave without my hug. I don't know why something happens, but I think I got over the fear of rejection. What are they going to say? No? Okay. So I take that no as just a delayed yes. It says, no, for now. And so I just got over my fear of rejection and went over and I go to a general, say, hey, hi, you're cool. And that has helped me. I have a now retired general that remembers my name, or the director for Future Vertical Lift at Bell Helicopters remembers almost my full name because I embarrassed him in front of his colleagues, saying, remember my name, Evaguel, Rhysing Colon Ramos Davila, I come back and I quiz you. And now he knows, oh, Evaguel, Rhysing Guadalupe. I got over the fear of rejection and just made it fun. If we can laugh, if you can make them laugh, we'll build that relationship, that trust that we talk about. And so I guess that's my long-winded answer. I just don't care if they reject me.
Hi, Ava. Nice to see you again. I've seen you from your first business competition and have followed your progress, and it's really pretty amazing. Can you tell us, like that much in Defense Department contracts, how many people do you have working for you now? What does that mean for your operation and ability? Like, how long does it take you to put that much out there in terms of product?
Certainly, excellent question. So when we moved here, we moved with around three or four people around there. Right now, we're reaching 11. And we're hiring 3 or 4 more people right now to go for the contracts. So these contracts are actually putting a lot of more runway into our company because we are going to be taking these contracts to put the clamps into that future helicopters. So according to the Future Vertical Lift timeline, they will be putting them in mid-summer of this upcoming year, and they're going to be flying. But of course, we'll fly them first. Sort of in the process of becoming a pilot, to his dismay. But yes, that our products will be able to get out there around next year and start being basically written in to these future helicopters. So no matter how many years in a row, when they go look at the technical manual, they'll call for UAT clamps. Did that answer your question?
Yes, that's great. So questions, your manufacturing will be done here in your location?
Yeah, manufacturing is outsourced. We are currently working with Silicon Plastics, which is in Dalton, Massachusetts, and some other Massachusetts companies such as Proto Labs, among others.
Oh, great. And one last question. So that's to go into new helicopters. Will your product, do you think, eventually be used for replacement in existing planes and helicopters?
Yes, excellent. Yes, that is the goal. We are using the Future Vertical Lift, which is quite rigorous standards, to get that clamp out there and prove how much it works, to then go out into retrofit, because we fit into the regular helicopters that are used today. And not only military, but then commercial. Boeing, the 777s that are on their modernization schedule, all of them we plan to go after, because our goal is not only to get the clamp out there, but once we prove it works and how much better it performs, we want to gather the data of the metal clamps used today and basically showcase how inefficient they are and why are we still using them. Because there's no need that we're still seeing electrical shorts being propagated and a lot of problems still happening to this day when we have other alternatives.
Hi, thanks so much. Beautiful presentation. Can you talk, my question's also about labor, but actually looking at the timeline in terms of right now there's a huge issue in terms of the workforce. And how does this affect the workforce for better or worse? Meaning it might technically solve a short-term problem in terms of eliminating workforce opportunities? Does it create a problem down the road? Just what's been your experience thus far?
So when you, just for clarification, you mean by putting our clamps, how does it affect the workforce? Is that the question?
Correct. How did with the military contracts, as part of cutting down that cost, also eliminating workforce?
I love that question. Thank you. So actually, the biggest thing, it doesn't eliminate workforce because there still need a team of 5 people to do 1 helicopter. It just helps them get mostly paid better, because currently a lot of the contractors underbid to maintain these helicopters to get the contracts, and therefore the workforce is not as well paid. By increasing the time it takes to maintain, we can help increase their profit margin, and then the military can hold them accountable for paying their co-workers. But not only that, we also, the reason behind this was his injury. Not only we're gonna help the working conditions for them, but also help eliminate so they don't go through what happened to Darian. Because a lot of these electricians, they suffer in silence because they're afraid of losing their jobs. The only thing they've been trained to do, and by having our ergonomic solution, simply snaps into place. No longer do you need to use a screw or washer and not going repeatedly, constantly over thousands and thousands of time to do something. You have something that can clip into place and then avoid injuries in your hands.
Hi. You mentioned that the aircraft is therefore lighter. Can you talk a little bit about fuel efficiency, please?
Yes. So I'll take what we all know, the commercial, as an example. So by us taking around 700 pounds or 600 pounds of a commercial aircraft, we can take over 1,000 tons off out of the CO2 emissions. That leads to the fuel efficiency. So meaning, and that's for one aircraft, 1 year, meaning that we can basically take out of Lennox, convert every single house into solar. That's how much CO2 we'll be saving.
In the future, do you see any product extension into the automobile market?
Yes. So the beauty about a product is electrical wire all behaves the same. So we always say, wherever is electrical wire, we have a fit. So whether it is on the auto market, giving the power back to the user, so no longer they need to rely on my machine said this, they can see it themselves on their dashboard that most modern cars have right now. And then also put for like electrical grid purposes, where now they pay over $15,000 to hire a drone operator to fly over the things. We can have that drone operator use our clamps to help him through his job as well. Thank you so much for your time.